Okay, so this just came out recently. One, Season 6 of My Little Pony is coming back sooner than we thought. And two, the rest of the episode titles for the rest of the episodes of the season are already out. And we have synopsises for two of the ones we were guessing at previously. Stranger Than Fiction is going to be a Darren Do based story set at a convention type setting. And The Cart Before the Ponies, much to my surprise, is going to be more of a cart race with the characters becoming too competitive. Almost, I guess, like go-kart racing, perhaps? Which is kind of a weird interpretation of the word cart, because you don't think of that as a technology ponies have, but perhaps there's a way that this all works out. And we have the rest of the episodes following what I said the last time I made one of these episode videos. I would like to say that for the rest of season 6, if we don't see Trixie or Flurry Heart again, I'll be pretty much disappointed that they were set up so early with no follow-up episode to pay off the reintroduction of Trixie or the introduction of Flurry Heart. It'd be almost as if they were thrown into the series just to be there and not to have an effect on the overall season. The next one in line is The Fault in Our Cutie Marks, which is an interesting phrasing of words. Could be a CMC episode, a Main 6 episode, a Starlight Glimmer episode, but whatever, it sounds like it's going to be expanding on the lore of cutie marks and how they're not always a perfect representation of your personality. Or perhaps a previously cast magic spell that influenced cutie marks or affected them in some way is starting to have negative effects upon the ponies. Or perhaps this is more CMC stuff with them finding ponies who have misunderstood their cutie marks and helping them out. Should be interesting one way or another. The next thing we have is one that I'm pretty excited for, and it's called Viva Las Pegasus. Finally, we get to go to another location besides Manhattan and Appaloosa and Canterlot and Ponyville and places we've been before. And it'd be interesting to see how they interpret this location on a kids show. Are they going to actually go into the gambling and the sex and the mafia and the whole Sin City stuff? Have the ponies face temptation only to, at the last minute, get a hold of their morals and get back on the right track? Are they going to have fun playing all kinds of games and trying to win or lose large sums of money? Are we going to look at Las Vegas as the big show attractions city with a lot of magic shows and animal acts and fashion shows and concerts and things of that nature? Perhaps this could be the Trixie episode as she gets to interact with a ponified version of Siegfried and Roy, or possibly Penn and Teller. But it would also be interesting to see some of the other aspects of Las Vegas come out. Or perhaps Applejack with a ponified version of Willie Nelson. Or perhaps Twilight and the others get mixed up in some kind of mafia thing and they get tossed out into the desert and have to find their way back. Maybe Fluttershy goes on an adventure with Siegfried and Roy's white bangled tiger. Or maybe we just look at Rarity and Pinkie Pie taking in exotic shows. Or maybe Rainbow Dash is having a gambling problem. Who knows, but it should be very interesting. They might even change the identity of Las Vegas from a gambling paradise to something a little more family friendly since it is a kid's show. The next one is another vague title that I can't speculate on the title alone. Every Little Thing She Does. There are so many characters that this could refer to that I can't even begin to speculate about who the she in Every Little Thing She Does would be referring to. But it definitely sounds like an episode focusing on one particular character and not a main six episode. I also wonder if this is going to be following the characters they do every little thing that they do, or if it's every little thing that they do, as in a character being shrunken in size to very, very small, and then having to do things while shrunken. Probably not, but either way could be interesting. The next one after that is called Pony POV, or Pony Point of View, which might be an interesting idea. If you're shooting something from a pony's point of view, that's almost suggesting a first-person perspective, like you'd be seeing the entire episode through the eyes of one of the characters. Whether this is a chance to look at more background characters or not is yet remains to be seen. But it would definitely be interesting if they decide to do something very unique with this episode. If it's just a regular episode, I'll be perhaps a little disappointed because I'm expecting something kind of fun and different. Next is Where the Apple Lies. Does make me wonder which apple is lying and where said apple is lying. Could this just be Applejack taking it easy? Or perhaps maybe Applejack goes someplace special to tell things that aren't true. Perhaps it's an episode of her being extremely unfaithful to her element. Or maybe she's dealing with a sibling or a cousin or other family member who's being extremely dishonest. Or maybe it's just Applejack having a secret side to herself where when she's not around her friends, she relaxes and shows a different personality that we've never seen before. Any of these possibilities could be interesting. The second to last episode before the season finale is called Top Bolt. This sounds very predictable, kind of like Top Gun, only Top Bolt. So definitely going to be a Wonderbolts episode, definitely will have Rainbow Dash in it, and I hope we get to see some kind of Wonderbolt shipping. But I can definitely imagine a competition between Rainbow Dash, Spitfire, Soarin', and some of the others as they compete to see who's going to be the top Wonderbolt. It makes me wonder if this will be of course, because she's Rainbow Dash and she's a main character, Rainbow Dash will win this thing. Or maybe Rainbow Dash won't win this and she'll learn to be humble. It should be an interesting follow-up to Newbie Dash to see how her Wonderbolt career is going up to this point and how her relationship with the Bolts has changed and evolved since her newbie days. I definitely would expect it to have a little less Rainbow Trash and a little more of Rainbow Dash's awesomeness. And then the season finale is To Where and Back Again, parts 1 and 2. Now, of course, everybody thinks of To Hell and Back Again as the popular expression. And if we were to translate that literally through My Little Pony standards, it could be To Tartarus and Back Again. Which could be interesting, but To Where and Back Again could imply a brand new location that the fandom's never heard of before. Perhaps a faraway place that's so old that it's been 1,000 years or more since any ponies traveled there. Or perhaps we're taking a trip into the human world and back again. That would certainly be an unexpected trip that would get a To Where to create some mystery as to the unknown destination that we're not expecting to have to go to. Definitely sounds like a fun journey. There's a lot of mystery in the title. Maybe we're going on a trip through time, or maybe we're going through some other alternate universe besides the human one. Or perhaps this is a trip to Griffinstone or Yakistan or one of the other places that we've been to before but haven't fully explored. It should definitely be interesting to figure out. Maybe this will be a trip to the breezy homeworld. Boy, that sure would be to hell and back again now, wouldn't it? There is one more thing that may or may not be spoilers depending on whether or not it was accurate. I do recall hearing something and not seeing a single episode that suggests this premise happening, but I do recall hearing that one of the episodes was supposed to be a return to Griffinstone, and we were going to see griffins receiving cutie marks. This could be a total fan hoax made up with pictures and everything to go with it, and it could be something that isn't going to happen. But if it is going to happen somewhere along the line, maybe this is the fault with our cutie marks. Perhaps griffins getting cutie marks causes them confusion and all sorts of emotional issues, and they don't know what to make of it, and they get totally freaked out by the brand new occurrence, and they don't know what it all means. Or perhaps the trip to Griffinstone won't have anything to do with cutie marks, and that's just a hoax part, but there will be a trip to Griffinstone, and it'll be in the To Where and Back. Either way, I don't see any other episode titles even slightly hinting at returning to Griffinstone. Unless the she in every little thing she does is Dilda. But that still doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyhow, there's lots of stuff that's interesting going on in those titles and a lot to think about. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching and good night.